Hey there. All right. So I know this is not going to be normally edited or done any way particular to make this as high quality as I normally would do. I just wanted to take a quick moment to talk about the new Joker film, and I'm doing it here on this channel instead of course, on the Neverland podcast channel, or also known as Neverland to Disney and Beyond. Although we do cover a lot of comic book films, this one being an R rated, it doesn't fit into the realm of what we do on that show. But this being my personal channel, I feel I can talk about this film on this channel. So I went last night to go see the new Joaquin Phoenix Joker film. From the beginning of it, I will say this is not meant to really be like a comic book film in the general sense. This is a sort of a different take on the Joker. This is more trying to answer a question of how somebody gets that far. And it deals a lot with, of course, mental illness, how that kind of gets treated, what it's like maybe to have some severe mental illness, and even makes a little comment about society and how people behave and how, people behave pretty awful. Ignore the mess back here behind me. We're in the process of we're going to move. We just bought a house, so eventually this is all going to change. I'm going to have a different room. But I had some really deep themes. Now this, I had when I first was seeing some teasers for this, I was afraid it was going to be, oh, poor sympathetic Joker. You're going to be sympathetic for maybe first half hour. As he starts to dive into deeper into madness, you start to lose sympathy for the character, but the sympathy you had helps you understand what's going on in a little bit in his head. So you understand the character and you're able to follow along with him, but you're going to be disagreeing with a lot of what he does, unless there's something wrong with you, because he dives straight into the dark side. This is a dark, disturbing, yet very compelling film. Joaquin Phoenix does a fantastic job as a man who basically suffers from severe depression. Also has a condition where he has a nervous laugh. When he gets stressed, he just laughs uncomfortably. But he's got all kinds of other things. He's on I think they mentioned 7 different medications. He works as a clown out in front of storefronts or doing little shows at hospitals. He's just kind of a paid to order type of clown service. He's with a company. And he really enjoys it. He's taking care of his sick mother that he lives in an apartment with a very shabby apartment. They're very poor, but it doesn't seem like at least his mother's not letting it get him down, and she's very convinced, oh, well, Thomas Wayne will come and save us, and Thomas Wayne's going to run for mayor, and how great Thomas Wayne is. And while the main character we have, Arthur Plesky, was it? I think, yeah. Who's basically becoming the Joker. We see his descent into not really believing that Thomas Wayne's going to be helpful or anything. The very interesting thing about this is his actions, his first actions that are starting to begin the birth of the Joker. We see a change, and there's a really great scene after this, an initial major incident, where his reaction to it is not like what you or I would react. It's very, very different. But this initial incident, his perspective on it and the perspective that Gotham takes to it is very different. And it's really interesting how it plays out. And it makes some social commentary with how everybody's reacting to what he did compared to what it means to him. And it comes to a head at the end when he pops on a show that's basically the Tonight Show. But it's Robert De Niro playing this show host, Murray. I forgot his last name. But it's a descent into madness and makes some great statements. At one point, he's keeping this journal, and he's written in the journal, the trouble with mental illness is that everyone expects you to act like you don't have one, which says a lot, because there's different varying degrees. And, you might question, like, if he'd have gotten some proper help, would it have changed the path that he ended up on? He had a lot of different major psychosis, but there's a lot of just great lines, a lot of good character lines where he's talks about, because his mother has nicknamed him Happy, because she says, oh, you're just born to bring happiness and joy to the people. And after he's starting this transition, he even says to her, I haven't been happy a single day in my life. But there are things that start to make him happy, but I won't get into it. Overall, very interesting movie, very psychological movie, kind of scary as you see him diving into madness, and especially because we understand why he's going there, but we're also like, oh no, that's bad. You don't do that, that kind of thing. And it just comes to a head at the end, and even connects into the Wayne family. And I found it to be very, very, very entertaining. And I have to agree with what I've heard about Joaquin Phoenix, maybe an Oscar contender on this film. I think he could very well be. Even like early in the film, you see him caught between wanting to cry because he can't stop this nervous laugh, and yet he's got this laugh going on, and then his eyes, like he's laughing, but in his eyes he's crying. And wow, the mixed emotions and the range that he showed, my goodness. But for those of you who think, oh, it's a comic book film, I wonder if I can take my kids. I wouldn't take your kids. I mean, it's not a very rough R. I mean, it's not even as rough as Deadpool. There is some blood. There's a very brutal murder pretty late in the film. There is, in his journal, he has cut out pictures apparently from pornographic magazines. You briefly kind of glimpse. You don't really get a good look at it. There is, of course, a few F-bombs dropped in there. So, I mean, the language, you're going to keep your younger kids away. This, I think, though, a teenager could handle this film. So if you want to go as a family, bring your teenagers. But this could be a good film for discussion later of what you thought about the concepts of mental illness and maybe what we can do to help those struggling with depression. Sometimes I have a wife who has depression, and there's times where she has an episode of things where there's nothing really I can do to make her feel better, that and you feel pretty powerless. You want to help, but there's not ways you feel like you can help. Sometimes just being there, though, seems to be something that you can do. Just be around. And sometimes they just need some affirmation, even though they're probably going to say, "Oh, well, hey, they're just not going to believe your affirmation." And I've gotten in a bad habit of, like, because she keeps throwing away my affirmations, I just don't do it anymore, and that's bad on me, I'm sure. But yeah, very, very thought-provoking film. I have seen one bad review on it. One somebody didn't. I don't think he quite understood it. But I do recommend checking out. It's not something you're going to feel happy when you leave, but you're going to be, wow, that was, it's a deep subject. It's a well. I think you will enjoy the experience of seeing this film and watching a descent into madness, because it is entertaining, but it's not what I'd call enjoyable, because you're not going to be left with a happy feeling at the end. So, but that's my thought on it. Go check it out this weekend.